So Women's History Month tends to focus on what are the actual accomplishments of women, what are the things that they've overcome, what are the really awesome innovations and talents that they've brought to society that no one else has done. And I think that's the best thing we could do for women right now to raise that awareness.
I think Women's History Month is extremely important for many reasons. I think we should celebrate women every single day, but I do think that this month gives us an opportunity to acknowledge how important women are in our lives and to take a step back from our day-to-day and think about how have you been impacted in your life or influenced by the women around you. It allows me to reflect on the women that have helped get me to where I am today. And I think of my friends and classmates from the EMBA program. I think of my professors. I think of my grandparents. I think of my mom, my sister, all the women that are so extraordinary. And I use this month to think about how I can show them my appreciation. So it's a good reminder, just like other months where we celebrate different things, to step back and kind of smell the roses a little bit and say thank you.
My biggest challenge as a woman in business would probably be not feeling like I know enough. And obviously I'm in school, so I should be okay with learning, and I am. But I mean, it's hard when obviously, there aren't a lot of people like me in business. There aren't a lot of people like me in accounting or finance or knowing the math, and maybe management is a bit different, but even then, not having someone to go to for help or feel like you can't ask for help can be difficult. And I'm very, very glad that Mendoza does have the type of support system that allows us to have role models that we can look up to, have people that I can randomly grab a coffee with, go to office hours with, and ask about their own journey and experience.
So I think often our students get a little too caught up in the technical skills that are needed for success, especially in finance and investing related roles. Certainly those are crucial, but I think a lot of what our underrepresented students don't often recognize is that there are skills that are much more important to that in terms of long-term success in these roles, like intellectual curiosity, coachability, being part of a performance-based team. And I think once they learn this, it becomes a lot easier for them to think about opting into these roles.
One of the biggest challenges for me, being a woman in business specifically, has been making sure that my voice is heard. So I feel like it's been hard when you're in a room and your voice maybe isn't necessarily the loudest, and I've definitely struggled to feel like my point of view or my perspective isn't coming across because I may be not the loudest one in the room. And I think that's been a big challenge for me to have to overcome and get comfortable with. But I will say, coming to Mendoza, they've really prepped me with the tools to be successful in elevating my voice and instilling this sense of confidence in me. So for example, there's ethical leadership courses that we take where you actually have to present on a weekly basis. And I think going through the hard part of having to prepare and present has really helped me understand, one, better communication skills, but two, how my voice actually matters and how I'm able to structure my thoughts in a more logical way, and that what I'm saying is actually gonna go a long way for my audience.
As I put myself in the shoes of some of our younger female students here, know your craft, right? I mean, this was my way of dealing with being one of the few women in the 80s as I was entering the field and a young woman in finance. Know your craft. Know inside out. If you're going to interview for a job in investment banking or sales and trading, you better know what it is. And I had one student come to me, I'm going to say about 6 years ago. I want to work at Goldman Sachs in sales and trading. Okay, that's loaded, right? What is sales? What is trading? What are you selling? What are you trading? And you need to know that inside out.
I ultimately want to be a professor because I think that's the best way I can help people. I was a tutor in undergrad and I found a lot of fulfillment from that. And I also feel very called to help people and specifically students. So I think that's the best way I can leverage my skills and really reach that end goal that is my purpose in this life. I've been inspired by a lot of my professors. My first professor ever was Mr. Hart, and she was a great teacher. She was always available for office hours, and I've definitely found that here at Notre Dame as well. My valuation and analysis professor is Professor LaRocque, and I met with her last week. She's helped me get into some research presentations that are coming up these next couple months for accounting, and it's just that extra help that I want to give back because I've definitely reaped a lot of benefits from that, and so if I can give that back to the community, I think that is what I'm called to do.
Advice that I would give to any women who are considering Mendoza, going into the Air Force, do it. I think that sometimes we can be a little bit shy, and if you look forward and you see that there's maybe not a lot of people who look like you become a little timid in your decision-making process. But I think that there's two options, right? You can go down a path that's already paved, or you can be the one who breaks barriers in the industry. And I think that more women need to understand that they're capable of being the ones that break the barriers.
Entering Mendoza, I think for women, is just to lean in. There is not going to be a perfect time to start your executive MBA program. As a wife myself, as a mother of just a recent 3-year-old, operating a business, servicing all my clients, as well as serving in my community with the Heart Association, I have so many things on my plate. But I feel like as women, we always have things on our plate, and they're never going to get cleared off because those are just things that we have to do. But things that we want to do that fulfill us in every part of who we are. But I think there's also an element that we want to grow in our professional career. We want to grow, personally. We want to expand our network. We want to be able to be a positive influence in our lives, but something that, triggers into everybody else's lives and people that we come into contact with. So embrace it, lean in, and just put a plan together. If you put a plan together, follow the plan, have an incredible support system around you, I really think that you can do anything at the end of the day.